All right, let's jump right in and take a deep dive into Firstsource Solutions Limited. We've got a whole bunch of their documents right here. Their FY24 annual report, the Q1 and Q2 FY25 earnings call transcripts, even some investor presentations. A lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with Firstsource? I know they're big in IT-enabled services, but what makes them stand out?
Well, one interesting thing is that they're actually a part of the RP Sanjeev Goenka group,
Oh, wow, yeah.
which is a big Indian conglomerate. They've got businesses all over power, retail, now IT-enabled services.
Good.
So that shows they have a strong foundation and, a pretty diverse portfolio, which is always a good thing in today's market.
It's like a safety net, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But are they playing it safe? Because their annual report is full of stuff about risk-taking and courage and innovation.
Right.
And then there's that tagline, execution, excellence, achievement, not activity.
Mm-hmm.
It's catchy.
It really speaks to their culture, I think. They're all about
Ah.
results. They want to see actual outcomes, not just busy work. And to get those results, they really focus on attracting and retaining top talent.
Makes sense.
Even in these documents, they're talking about how they're trying to reduce attrition, and building a sustainable business model.
That's good to see.
Yeah.
All right, so we know they've got the talent, they've got the drive, they've got the backing of a big conglomerate.
Mm-hmm.
But what exactly do they do? What's their bread and butter?
It's business process services.
Business process services.
Or BPS, for short. Think of it this way, like every company needs to do things like customer service, finance, data analysis, right?
Sure.
But not every company wants to handle that all in-house. So that's where Firstsource comes in. They provide those services using their own expert teams
Gotcha.
and technology, of course.
So it's kind of like a one-stop shop for all those back-end operations.
Exactly. And they're not just generalists either. They've actually specialized in certain sectors.
Like what?
Banking and financial services, healthcare, communications, media, and technology. Those are industries where accuracy and expertise are super important, and that's kind of what Firstsource is known for.
Yeah, those are high stakes.
Right.
But BPS, I mean, that's pretty crowded, right? Lots of companies doing that. How does Firstsource differentiate itself?
That's where their tech plus people approach comes in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they're really good at combining technology and human expertise. It's not about like replacing people with robots or anything.
Okay.
It's about using AI to enhance the human workforce.
So it's like a collaboration.
Exactly. Makes
Yeah.
things more efficient, more effective.
Can you give an example of how they're using AI in their work?
Oh, sure. So one example that comes to mind is sentiment analysis.
Sentiment analysis.
Yeah. So they use this for touchless email processing,
Touchless.
meaning the AI can handle it without any human intervention.
Interesting.
The AI can analyze the tone and intent of emails and actually respond to them, automatically. Yeah. And they've managed to cut down their response times by like 45% by using this.
45%. That's huge.
It is. And it makes their clients happy, obviously. Faster response. Everyone's happy.
No wonder they're working with, like, big consumer tech companies to train their AI models.
Yeah.
But okay, back up a little. How big is this BPS market?
Good question.
Is there room for Firstsource to grow?
There is, actually. According to the Everest Group, the global BPS market is expected to grow by about 3.4% in fiscal year 24.
Okay.
Might not sound like a lot, but you got to consider what's driving that growth.
Like what?
Well, there's a lot of global uncertainty right now, right? Companies are looking for ways to optimize, cut costs.
Makes sense.
And then you've got AI, which is like changing consumer behavior at an incredible pace.
Right.
So everybody's trying to adapt. And Firstsource is right there offering solutions.
So they're in the right place at the right time.
They are. And they've got some pretty strong relationships with some big-name clients, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're working with 18 Fortune 500 companies
Right.
and 3 FTSE 100 companies.
Okay.
They're recognized leaders in a lot of key segments. And they've got a passionate workforce, almost 28,000 employees globally.
But that's a lot of people.
It is. That kind of scale and that expertise is hard to beat.
All right, so they've got the clients, they've got the expertise, the market's growing. Sounds good.
Yeah.
But how are they actually performing? What's their market share like?
Well, in fiscal year 24, they brought in a revenue of $63.4 billion,
Okay.
which is a 5% increase year over year.
Solid growth.
Yeah, and their operating margin also got a nice bump, up 160 basis points from the previous year.
So they're doing well.
They are.
What's their secret? What are they doing that's giving them this competitive advantage?
Well, a few things stand out.
Okay.
First, their deep domain knowledge.
Right.
Combined with that PEC integration we talked about earlier, allows them to offer really effective and scalable solutions.
So it's not just about having the technology, it's about knowing how to use it.
Exactly. In specific contexts.
Right. What else?
Second, they're really agile. They can adapt quickly to changes in the market
Okay.
and to their clients' needs, which is crucial nowadays, with everything changing so fast.
Yeah.
And then finally, those strong client relationships that we talked about, those are incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
Those long-term partnerships, they mean stability,
Right.
recurring revenue. They're not just chasing quick wins. They're building, long-lasting relationships that benefit both sides.
So like a solid foundation.
It is.
But even the most successful companies have challenges, right?
Oh, absolutely. No business is without risk.
So what are some of the key risk factors that could threaten Firstsource's success?
Well, one of the things they highlighted in these reports is the rising rate of credit card delinquencies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they're actually exceeding pre-pandemic levels, which is a bit worrying.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a problem.
Yeah, especially for their financial services business, if that trend continues.
Definitely something to watch.
Yeah.
What else? Any other potential roadblocks?
Well, there's the whole issue of rapid technological advancement, right?
Sure.
It's a double-edged sword. Like, on the one hand, Firstsource is a leader in AI integration,
Right.
but they need to stay ahead of the curve. Because if they fall behind, then they risk being disrupted by newer solutions,
It's like a constant race.
It is. And then, of course, there's cybersecurity.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one these days.
Huge. Especially for a company that handles so much sensitive data. Data breaches are a nightmare.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you've got the challenge of managing attrition, keeping employees happy.
Okay.
Especially with wage inflation and everything. It's a constant battle.
So they've got some serious challenges to think about.
They do, but they seem aware of the risks.
Yeah. Good. So let's talk about corporate governance. How are they approaching all of these potential pitfalls?
Well, they seem to be taking it pretty seriously. They've got this whole ESG governance structure.
ESG, okay.
Yeah, with a steering committee, an ESG lead, working groups, even a board committee dedicated to this stuff.
Wow, so it's not just lip service.
No, it's definitely baked into their decision-making.
They're actually putting it into practice.
They are.
So they're walking the walk when it comes to sustainability and ethical practices.
Exactly.
But what about the competition? Who else is out there trying to get a piece of that BPS pie?
Right.
And how does Firstsource stack up?
Well, you've got your traditional IT services companies
Right.
and BPO companies all competing for the same clients.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got this new wave of SaaS platforms coming in.
Those platforms.
Yeah. Especially in things like collections.
Okay.
They're offering these automated solutions, which can be cheaper for some companies.
So how does Firstsource compete with that? These new players who are all about automation and cutting costs.
By focusing even more on their tech plus people model.
Right.
It's not about replacing people. It's about finding that balance.
That sweet spot.
Right, where tech actually enhances human capabilities.
Okay.
They've got the tech, they've got the expertise, they're focusing on specific areas.
Right.
That gives them an edge over those more generic providers. And they've got this big partner ecosystem.
Oh, yeah.
So they can offer a wider range of solutions.
So it's like they're saying, yeah, automation is great, but we can actually give you something better.
Exactly. It's more than just software, it's expertise, it's customized solutions.
Got it. Okay, so let's talk about sustainability for a minute. We touched on it earlier, but can you give me some concrete examples of what they're doing?
Well, sure. Their annual report actually highlights some pretty impressive things, like they've reduced their Scope 1 emissions by almost 69% compared to last year.
69%? Wow.
Yeah. They're using more renewable energy. They're at 14% now.
Okay.
And all of their waste is disposed of responsibly. Yeah, so they're hitting all the key points there. Emissions, energy, waste. And it goes beyond just like the environmental stuff. They're really committed to their employees too.
Oh, yeah.
They've invested $278.76 million and almost 1 million training hours into employee skill development.
That's impressive.
Yeah, they're not just trying to minimize their footprint. They're investing in people, creating a more sustainable future for their workforce.
Absolutely. So where do they go from here? What's their plan for growth?
Well, they've got a few things going on. Strategic acquisitions are a big part of their strategy,
Okay.
like their recent acquisition of a census.
Right, that was a big one. What did they get out of that?
Well, it got them into this high-growth retail and e-commerce space,
Okay.
which is booming right now.
Yeah.
It expanded their reach in Europe,
Gotcha.
and it brought in a bunch of clients with long contracts.
So they're diversifying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Getting into new markets. That's essential for growth.
But acquisitions can be risky.
They can.
How are they making sure this pays off?
Well, they're still investing heavily in AI and digital solutions.
Okay.
They're building up their solutions teams, expanding their sales force, to reach new clients.
So they're putting in the work.
Right. They're not just buying growth, they're investing in the stuff they need to support it.
It's like they're saying, we're not just going to sit around and wait.
Exactly. They're going after it. And they're really focusing on high-growth areas like retail and e-commerce.
Where they can leverage their expertise.
Right. That targeted approach really minimizes the risk.
Okay. Acquisitions, investments, market expansion. Got it. What are some recent developments that highlight these initiatives?
Well, the census acquisition is still a big talking point. It's a bold move.
Right.
Really shows their commitment to global expansion.
I see.
And not just expansion for the sake of it,
Yeah.
It's about getting into markets that are poised for massive growth.
And are they seeing results from this?
They are. Their latest financials are really good. In Q1 of FY25, they had revenue growth of 14.8% year over year in constant currency.
Wow.
And their EBIT margin held steady at 11%.
So they're doing well.
Yeah, their strategy seems to be working.
So they're leveraging AI, they're expanding, they're delivering strong results, but they're also walking this tightrope.
Yeah.
They got to keep innovating
Right.
while also dealing with these risks from all this new tech.
Exactly. And that's what makes Firstsource so interesting.
Yeah.
They're not just along for the ride. They're actually shaping this digital transformation. They're pushing the boundaries of AI,
Right.
but they're also committed to their people and the planet.
It's a tough balance,
It is.
but they seem to be managing it well. Definitely a company to watch. Now, we've talked a lot about their strategy and their operations, but I think it's time to dive into the financials a bit more. Let's see what's behind those impressive numbers. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty here, the numbers. We've seen how Firstsource is growing, heard about their big moves, but how's their financial health looking?
Their latest report, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Not just the revenue growth, but their EBIT margin, it's rock solid.
Oh.
And it's not just a one-time thing. Look at their track record. Consistent growth, profitable. They're building something sustainable here.
That's what investors want to hear.
Exactly.
But let's look deeper. Anything hiding in the balance sheet? Any red flags?
I've been over their financials, and honestly, nothing jumps out.
Okay.
Cash position is good, debt's manageable, their cash flow from operations is strong.
So they got room to maneuver.
Yeah, they can invest in these growth initiatives like the census deal without, overextending themselves.
Sounds like they're in a good spot. Growing fast, but financially sound.
They are. But of course, no business is invincible, right?
All right.
What could hurt them? Well, wage inflation's something to watch.
Yeah, makes sense.
They need the best people, and that costs money.
It does.
If wages keep going up, that could eat into their profits, even if their revenue's strong.
Yeah, that's true. Talented people are everything, especially for a company like Firstsource,
Right, where it's all about expertise and insights.
Exactly. Any other potential problems?
Well, we talked about those rising credit card delinquencies.
Right.
If that gets worse, it's going to hit their financial services business.
Makes sense.
And then there's always the possibility of a recession, right?
Yeah, of course.
That could really slow them down.
So some risks out there.
Yeah.
But right now, they're looking pretty strong.
Yeah, they've got a good track record, their financials are healthy, and their management team, they seem focused on the long game.
Which is good to see.
It is. Their commitment to innovation and their ability to adapt, those are big pluses.
Yeah,
But things change fast. Got to stay agile.
absolutely. So there you have it, folks. We've explored Firstsource, their tech plus people model, their financials, their sustainability efforts. They're doing a lot right. What are your takeaways from this deep dive?
This has been a really informative deep dive,
It has.
but it's just the beginning. What are you curious about?
Yeah, what questions do you have?
What trends do you think will shape Firstsource's future? This is an ongoing exploration.
So keep digging, keep asking those questions.
Yeah.
And until next time, happy deep diving.
Yeah.